Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing part 8 of What If Deku Had a Transfer Quirk. Last time we left off, that part of well, anyway, uh, Zuko and the rest of the class are in that 2 weeks pretty much training and working on their studies. Some of them, the ones that doesn't really do anything, pretty much just lays around and then train. And around almost in the second week on Wednesday, Zuko pretty much asked, I called up Juro, and as Juro picked up and said, well, hello, and Deku said, it's me, Deku, and Juro said, oh, hey, uh, so why you want to talk, why you want, why you call me? And she's kind of stuttering because she's actually just came out of the shower and putting her clothes. And so Deku pretty much asked, hey, are you free on Thursday? And she said, yeah, we don't have school, so yeah, I'm free. And Deku pretty much said, well, hey, what would you like to go on our third date? And she said, where are we going? And she's thinking she want to say yes, but she just want to play it cool. And Deku pretty much said, it'll be a surprise. Um, just it'll be a surprise, but it'll be mostly for the whole day. And is that cool with your parents? And she'll say, let me go to ask. And as she asked her parents about it, she came back and said, yeah, it's all cool. Are you going to pick me up or are we going to meet somewhere? And Deku said, yeah, I'll go and let's go meet at this spot. I'm not going to say the spot because I don't know any names in Tokyo. So the next day come and they start, and Deku pretty much plan the day around 10 because that's how I start my day at 10. And so Deku pretty much started in the day at 10 and told Jiro, and pretty much told Jiro around 8 just to wear something casual, nothing fancy. We're going to be outside most of the day. And she pretty much does. And she wears kind of like her hero outfit, but with like a different color shirt and yeah, pretty much like her hero outfit, kind of. And Deku pretty much came in with a shirt and like he would like go to that mall, kind of like that, but in the back, in English, it says a band name. And Joro asked, so what's with the? And she pretty much said, nice T-shirt. I really like that band. Is that from America? And Deku said, yeah, it's one of my favorite bands. And have you eaten breakfast yet, or technically lunch, or brunch? And she said, yeah, but I'm a little hungry, kind of embarrassed, kind of blushing. And so Deku pretty much took her to a McDonald's or McDonald's, like how anime does it. Okay, and he just pretty much paid for the food. Jiro was about to pay for her food, but it was too late. And Deku pretty much told her, I ask you out, I pay for this food. And she's gonna say, okay, so where are we going? And Deku said, well, I'll give you a hint. It's where a lot of people go to. And she has no idea where they're going, because there's a lot of places where everybody else goes. He made it very vague for a reason. And so a few hours passed, and for lunch, they actually ate something for lunch. It was kind of a romantic. Well, Deku pretty much had plans to. No, it's just a regular lunch date, a cheap one. I'll say they ate some pizza, and so Jiro asked, "So where are we going?" And there's her like third time, and Deku said, "Well," and he's checking his watch and say, "I think it should be open by then." And she said, "Okay, where are we going?" she's kind of like very quite she liked the mystery stuff, but she likes to know where she's going. And so Deku pretty much said, "Okay, okay," and he shows her two tickets. And Deku pretty much said, "I had two more, but my friends wanted. I gave it to my friends, and so I had these two." And she is looking at them and saying, "Is this a concert?" And uh, I should have guessed that your T-shirt was a hint, right? And Deku said, "Yeah, it's one of the bands that are gonna be playing over there." I'm not sure if this band actually play over there, but I'm just gonna assume they do since they're so famous. So Deku and Ejiro pretty much walked to the concert, kind of like a stadium type. They walked in, got passed through by the tickets, and, Jiro pretty much asked, "So what are these bands called?" And Deku said, "My favorite one is called Skillet or Skill, Skillt. I think that's how it's said, Skillet." And he lists the others. These are pretty much the bands I know and like. Imagine Dragons. That's pretty much all I know. Sorry, but he pretty much said those two and some few more, kind of like those genres. And Jiro have heard about Skillet, and but she haven't heard about him. Well, she have heard Imagine Dragons, but she haven't heard of Skillet. So she's asking a few questions on how their songs are, and Deku pretty much said, "Well, they're and they're just like Imagine Dragons, but a little more darker. But it's pretty help. Uh, their bass is like so good though, and she kind of likes the bass too. So Deku and Jiro pretty much hang out, and the concert's starting. And the first song for Skillet is Monster, and so everybody's like singing along, and Deku is actually singing out loud with it as well. And Deku accidentally used his quirk, and the feeling he's right now is a mixture of green and blue, and just joyful tears. So everybody's like crying, tearing up, uh, uh, in their eyes, singing the song, and Jorah's tearing up too, and pretty much pat Deku on his head, on his shoulder, say, "Hey, are you using your quirk?" And Deku said, "Oh wait, oh yeah, sorry," and he just took it back in and started uh, jumping to the song. And so yeah, the concert have gone by for 5 hours. Yep, I'm making it that long. And so as the sorry, I haven't been to a concert, so I have no idea how it is. And so Deku pretty much got a shirt for Juro as well. And Zuko was kind of lucky that he got one that was autographed by Skillet with his favorite song, Monster. And so Juro and Deku pretty much left, and Deku said, "So you want to go home or you want to go get something to eat?" And Juro said, and she was about to say go home, but her stomach was growling, and so she kind of blushes and said, uh, and Deku pretty much said, "So any specific you want to go, or you want me to choose again?" And she said, "I'll let you choose. Ladies, are you gonna take me anywhere cheap or something fancy?" And Deku said, "Well, I guess you're gonna figure that out as we get there." And so she pretty much Deku pretty much grabbed her hand and start walking, holding hands. Deku pretty much said, "Since it's pretty close by here, so let's just walk." And they actually walked for about 20 to 30 minutes to a beach, and there's a restaurant there. You can name it whatever you want, but it's just going to be a restaurant that's like beach theme and pretty much lobster. Yeah, Joe Crab Shack. And so yeah, they eat there, had a fun time. This time Juro actually paid, and Deku was kind of smiling and say, "So you got me." And she just pretty much said, "You paid for my breakfast and lunch and the concert and this awesome shirt, and so this is gonna be at least a little pay back." And Deku said, "That's fair. So how did you like the music?" And so she's like saying she liked Imagine Dragons a lot. One of her favorite songs is Radioactive and On Top of the World. And Dick said, "Yeah, I connect well with On Top of the World. I do play along with it if I ever can." And Joe said, I have some instruments at home if you want like to play." And Dick said, "No, I have an instrument. I just..." And then he just said no and stopped talking and pretty much like whistling away. And Joe would say, "And what? Come on, tell me, or I'm not leaving this restaurant." And Deku said, "Fine, fine." If they're actually leaving the restaurant. And so Deku pretty much tell her that I actually do sing and play the bass. And she's kind of surprised that he can play and sing. And she wanted to hear it. And Deku said, "No, no, not here, not today." And she said, "So when?" And Deku said, and then said, "Well, I guess it's getting late." And Deku pretty much point at the sunset, say, "Oh wait, look at that." And Joe said, "Wait, what?" And she looks and say, and for you guys to see, it's a sunset. The sun is setting right on top of the beach, the where the ocean is, and it's a pink, purple, and then a little bit of blue on in the sky, with no clouds. And that they're just both pretty much standing there and looking. Deku pretty much held her hand and said, "You know, I looked at that sunset almost every time I train here." And she said, "You train here?" And Deku said, "Don't ruin it." And she said, "Okay, okay." And Deku said, "You know, that sunset is not as beautiful as I was hoping." And she said, "Hey, what? This is actually so beautiful and so pretty too. What? You seen something better?" And Deku said, "Yeah, you." And she stopped, closed her, pretty much was about to say something, closed her mouth, and kind of started blushing. And pretty much said, "Okay, okay, I'm ready to go home. Go home." And so Deku said, pretty much smiling, uh, finding a sneak and a compliment, and pretty much they took her home. As the week and the 2 weeks have finally been over, and everybody's going back into class, they have 2 weeks, and Aizawa pretty much tells them, "You have 2 weeks to train and for the sports festival." And everybody's getting excited, and one of them freaking out as they're asking questions if it's too early or if it's something like that. And Aizawa pretty much told them that Nezu planned this to show that UA is not backing down on something so small. And so they are agreeing, and end of the class, end of the day, students are coming through, and they're seeing how everybody, seeing pretty much the scene where all the other kids came up, and Deku, they were all the kids, all the UA were actually trying to leave, and Deku said, "Hey, hey, it's all cool. Just let me go, let us go." And Monoma pretty much came by and say, "And a UA student, a 1A student, is telling us to do a class 1B. You guys are just a bunch of low lives. I bet you haven't really fought any of these villains." And Deku was getting a little mad. And then Bakugo came up and said, "Hey, extra, move it, or I'll make you move." And But Deku is pretty much, hey, and turn around and told Bakugo, hey, stop. And so, and he turned around to Monoma and said, so, what's your quirk? And Monoma said, well, it's this. And he pretty much kind of like touched Bakugo's hair and said, and started using explosions. And Deku said, oh, a copy quirk. Too weak. And Momo said, what? Too weak? What are you talking about? This is a... And he's gloating, saying, this is the best power ever. I can copy anybody's quirk. And Deku said, well, no, it doesn't. You can only copy emitters. You can't copy stock up quirk. You can't copy transformations. Well, you can't... mutations. You can't copy those two mutations or stock up quirk. And Momo's kind of shocked that he knows that already and know his weakness, and he's kind of yelling at why. How do you know? How who told you? And Deku said, "Well, no one did. You just pretty much told me right now." And he's kind of smiling, and some of the girls are smiling as well. Kind of smiling as well, and because they know about his quirk. Sorry, they're just doing fireworks around here, and it's getting annoying. And Deku pretty much looked at Adrian and Lorenzo and Sebastian all talking up, and Deku said, "Hey, can you guys please let us go through?" And so Adrian, Lorenzo, and Sebastian, with their friends in their classes, pretty much told everybody else to move. And they're kind of questioning why they're helping this one kid, but Deku said, well, thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Sebastian. Thank you, Lorenzo. And he walked off. And the rest of the 1A is starting to walk off as well. And Deku pretty much looked at Adrian, and it seems like they're checking his emotions and seeing that his pink emotion is getting high. And the green emotion is also getting as high as well. Pretty much at the same level. Getting up to the same size. And so everybody's leaving, and so I don't know what happens next. Okay, let's skip all that through and going to the sports festival. As everybody's in the line and midnight showing off, they are showing off and pretty much ask 1A top student, please come in. And Deku actually was walking by and telling everybody to raise your hands when I do. And Bakugo was telling this to everybody else, and Ezjiro as well. And Deku pretty much gave a text to Lorenzo, Sebastian, Adrian as well. And they said okay. And they sent back okay. And so Deku's up there and talking to them, saying, hello everybody, I am Zuko Midoriya. And some of them are a little shocked that he's the Midoriya kid, and they're wondering. And Deku said, as you know, my mother is Inko Midoriya. She and I have the same quirk. We can read your guys' emotions. Hers a little weaker, but she still does her job. And Deku said, and my quirk pretty much, no, I can't. I'm just thinking of this off the fly. I have no idea what I'm saying. Pretty much says, and I worked my butt off to be here. All the kids that ever bully me, pretty much telling me that I can't be here because my quirk is too weak, is I'm showing them now that I am strong enough to be in 1A. And anybody that disagree, come up here and fight me. And Deku pretty much raised his hand and said plus ultra, and then open it, And then everybody in the stadium was saying plus ultra chanting, but the class in 1A, 1B, 1C, and most of them raised their hand. The ones that didn't have beef, Shoto and Monoma did not raise their hand. And everybody raised their hand saying plus ultra at the same time. And Zuko pretty much used his quirk, shoot up a bunch of all the colors at once into the sky, and make it spread out kind of like fireworks. And everybody's pretty much surprised and saying, "Is that his quirk? Explosions?" And as he's walking down, Bakugo said, "I couldn't say anything better." And then Joro's kind of just happy that he said something nice to the whole crowd. So let's start with the race. Everybody's getting ready, and everybody's hearing it. They're saying, "Ready, set, go!" And everybody started running. Todoroki started freezing up everybody and going up in the lead. It's the same as Ken, but Deku's just standing there, actually charging up to 35%, and then from turning, and then President Mike is asking, "So, Aizawa, that's one of your top students. What is his quirk?" And Aizawa pretty much said, as you have heard, his quirk is emotion read. He can actually take away your emotions and put it into himself. He called it tranfer. And as you can see right now, he's actually using that very emotions in his body to boost himself to be the strongest. And Zuko is pretty much stomping with his right, left, and took off running. And he's flying by, since at 5%, it's the same speed as the Todoroki as Bakugo is using his explosion. So it's pretty fast. But 30%, he pretty much almost beat, he finished the first pass, pretty much destroying the first robot, crushing it down, and keep running. And he's actually leaving a trail now of electricity, but in rainbows. So it's like when it was like, no, I can't do that one. And so Zuko pretty much stopped and looked at the cameras, and pretty much said, "And there's the first person at the cameras, Zuko Midori, from dead last to the first, to the very first place." And Zuko look around, see it, and pretty much get ready and jumped. And he jumped over the whole thing. And President is like shouting that he just jumped over 2 miles of a canyon in one bound. And Aizawa, do you have anything to say about that? And Aizawa said, "He's our top student. He's gonna win." And then just went back to sleep. So everybody started running even harder. Todoroki and Bakugo is racing each other to try and get to the first. And they could see it's the first person, and everybody's going finally past the second obstacle. Deku's already at the third obstacle, and to avoid the explosions. So Deku is actually just walking. No, he's running through. He's not slowing down at all. And President Mike said, "Is that a little dangerous, Aizawa? Your student is gonna get hurt." And Aizawa said, "He's not gonna get hurt. He has actually 2 quirks. It's not half and half because he just doesn't like to call it. It's transfer, but Deku has another quirk called regeneration." And President Mike said, "Are those one of those rare quirks that almost nobody can have?" And I said, "Yeah, but his is actually pretty strong, as he can actually take someone's physical pain, like he healed me as well. I had broken arms, broken legs. I wouldn't be able to be in the classroom for next 2 months. But Zuko pretty much healed me, took in all that pain, and regenerated at the same time. And so President Mike is pretty much saying that Zuko Midori, with 2 quirks and very overpowered, is finished had passed the finish line first, and everybody class 1A and class B and C and D and E heard that and just like speeding up and trying to beat it. So I can go on. What? Yeah. So everybody's getting in. Everybody has the same spot. Pretty much exactly the same spot. I'm going to replace Uraraka with Juro. And so, and yeah, that's it. I don't have a list of their the placement just yet. So Zuku is given the points of 10 million points, and everybody's going from there is lower. And so he's kind of looking around and seeing who's going. He just stand there and see who's going to ask as his partner. And Gerald came up, and then May, 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 yeah, May came up as well. And Deku said, "I have one more guy," and so he went to Tokoyami and asked if he could come. And Tokoyami was about to say no, but Deku said, "Hold on, let me test something. Can you bring out Dark Shadow?" And he did. And they're actually good friends now, Dark Shadow and Tokoyami. And he's more of a partner now as a quirk. And Tokoyami and said, "Okay, Dark Shadow, come out." And as he came out, Zuko said, "Okay, here," and he pulled out a black orb, and he's trying to make it. He's just like changing the color of hope with fear together, and he just like put it on Dark Shadow's hand and push it in, and Dark Shadow feels stronger, and Tokiyomi feels this too, and said, "This is it feels like we're in the dark. What did you do?" And Zuko said, "Well, I mixed in a little bit of fear and the rest of it hope, for it can be like balanced perfectly. So I think it will help you power up. Did it work?" And Tokoyami pretty much asked Dark Shadow, "Hey, did it work? Are you any stronger? Like at night?" And Dark Shadow said, "Yeah, I'm stronger. I feel like I can go for another hour or two." And Tokoyami said, "Okay, I'll go and be in your team." The stance is Deku is one of the horses, and Juro is on the top, and Tokoyami is in the back, and Mei is in the back. And Deku pretty much asked her, "What do these inventions do?" And she pretty much lists them off. And Deku said, "Okay, we'll use the engines at the very last moment." And everybody okay with that? And they say yeah. And Juro, can you connect to the? Well, no, you can't do that. Can you connect to your? I got it. Can you connect it to my voice box? And she said, "I haven't done it to anybody's voice box." And Deku said, "That'd be perfect. I can scream, pretty much scream as much as I can, as much as I want as well." And she said, "Okay." And what would this? And she, no, actually, Juro can do it. She can scream as well. She listened to heavy metal, and most people know that heavy metal, you have to scream in a certain kind of way in your voice box to actually make it deeper and like kind of like a monster sound. So she knows how to do that. And she said, "Oh, you mean wait, you can sing like that too?" And Deku said, "Yeah, I like music. I want to sing almost every kind." And so she said, "Okay, so you want me to put both of them in or just one of them?" And Deku said, one of them for right now." And so she does, and they're ready. Tokoyami is Dark Shadow is actually covering everybody for any attack from the back. May is just getting ready for if she needs to give him the signal to use her inventions, and Deku is in up front, pretty much screaming. Right when it started, everybody started attacking Zuko and his teams and for their hairpins. And Zuko pretty much told her to before all this to flip over the points, and she asked why. And be smarter that way. If we collect any, we can just like flip it around and no one will know which one is the right one. And so they do, and everything goes in like in canon. Bakugo's team has to fight with Monoma, and everybody. Tokiyomi actually, well, no, Shoto pretty much target Deku and start fighting him. As they're going back and forth, Ida pretty much telling at the point where I'm not good with fights. I just can't be good with it. Actually, Deku's team has been like pushing everybody back, and he's using his screams to the right, to the left, and Dark Shadow is actually covering everybody's ears as he's doing this because it's pretty high pitched, dude. And then on the down pitch, it pretty much shakes the ground because bass does do that. It shakes anything that's around it, and so high pitch hurts your ears. That and almost like to a bass, a pitch. Everybody's like can't really move because he's shaking the ground, and Deku and at this point, as he was screaming, he was like taking a break to let his lungs, let his voice box heal. And at this point, I no, dang it, forgot his name. um, Raka Deku Ida. There you are. I I can't. Dang it. Ida pretty much tell his team that he's gonna use a secret technique, and it might stall us, might stop us for a few minutes. And they said, "What is it?" And he used his turbo. I can't say the other word. Used his turbo and spit up and took the points right off of Ichiro's head. And Deku saw this, and so and told everybody, "Okay, now Jiro, now fuck the pink hair girl. Tell her now. Told her now. Use your vision, and they're starting flying, and as they're leaning, Dark Shadow is actually using his arms to make it look like he's flying, kind of like a bird wing, just high enough, and Deku said now. Deku actually told them to let go of him, and Deku pretty much fell down, right down in the ground, and actually just use his left arm and told pretty much telling them to stay up and use his left leg stopping down and showing a wave of black mist to everybody, and everybody's like stopped and shaking right now, and Deku pretty much said and now, and Jiro and Dark Shadow are reaching out and trying to grab the points, and they grabbed them, and they got just enough to be in second place. They did not get the top points, but they got enough for second place. And so, yeah. Shall I? If everything, I'll do the fights. So here we go. I'll do like the main ones. All the other ones are the same. Ida got out. May got out as well. The girl with vines got out. So here we go. The fight with Deku and Sho, and Deku's like getting ready, and he was told by the tail guy that what do not speak. His quirk is brainwashing, and Deku pretty much said, "Okay, I got it." And Deku pretty much stood up and pretty much stretched and pretty much took a stance of a fighting pose. And President Mike said, 3, 2, 1, fight. And he already announced what each other's quirk is. And Shadow, is it really? No, that's the guy with a brainwashing quirk. I forgot his name too, and he's my favorite character. And so they're actually as he's taunting Zuko to speak, Zuko pretty much walked up and punched him in the mouth, and then starts talking. You know, your quirk is such an easy loophole. I can pretty much fight you without using my quirks now. And the guy with a brainwashing quirk said, "Oh yeah, okay, let's fight with no quirks." And so Zuko pretty much beat him down. About 3 punches and he's out. He was knocked out easily, and he just pretty much dragged him and put him out on the ring because he wouldn't give up. And it was anticlimactic, but yeah, I'm not good with fights. Next fight is Bakugo versus Jiro. And so they're fighting. And Jiro has a few ideas how to do it. And so as Bakugo is like getting up close and fighting, Jiro is actually using her voice box and start making the ground shake. So Bakugo is like shaking and he can't really move straight. So as he's trying to go straight, he's actually turning to the left and right. And so he just said, fine. And so he's using his arms and fly up in the sky. And he's staying up there because training with Deku pretty much make him have to fly up higher. And so he's flying up there in the sky and start using his explosion to like go toward Jiro. And Jiro pretty much got ready and she's actually starting to bleed through her mouth and start screaming in the highest pitch voice, almost up to the E's, to the A's, all the way up there. And Bakugo is like pretty much screaming, and then he actually used his quirk and blast his ears, so he can't hear anything at that point. And the Jiro did not expect him to do that, and so they start fighting each other, and Bakugo got the last hit in, and she pretty much fainted. And they were both taken to the recovery girl, and pretty much Fred Maya saying, man, these two have fought so hard, and at the very end, that man pretty much blew his eardrums out just to keep on fighting. What is with your students, Mr. Aizawa? And Aizawa said, because of Deku, he's pretty much the only reason that everybody can keep fighting like this. And President Mike said, and why would they? Because, and Aizawa pretty much said, because one of his quirks, tranfer, and he's like getting annoyed that he's not listening, is pretty much transferring that very pain to himself, and he will never stop. And so it was some time out. Deku pretty much went to them and said, you guys fought hard, but I did not like how you guys used your quirk. So, and recovery girl pretty much told them and Zuko, do not heal them. I'm going to let them stay like this for a few more hours. And Deku said, yeah, I was going to say that too. They need to learn that I'm not going to be there all the time. As he given the smirk and said, well, bye guys. Hope you feel better without my help. And he started walking away. And they're both like kind of pissed at that he is not healing each other. And Jiro wants to attack him with her earbuds and can't say anything. And Bakugo doesn't know what he just said, but he just left, and he's just like pretty much yelling at pretty much, come back and heal me. And so the next fight, and Endeavor came up to Zuko and said, so you're that lady's child? And Deku said yes. And he said, can you? And he's kind of like starting. Please, with a messed up with a annoyed tone, make Shoto Todoroki use his fire sign. And Deku said, "No, I. He has his choice, and I do not want him to force it." I bet that freaking scar is from you, huh? And Endeavor was about to say something, and Deku just ran off and pretty much walked off and not listening. And so the next fight is Izuku Midoriya versus Toko Endeavor Todoroki. Yeah. And so they're starting up, and Zuko said, "Okay, to make it a fair fight, I'll only use half my quirk." And Todoroki say, "Use your full use your full power. I need to show him that I do not need his quirk to beat you." And Deku said, "All right, let's see how this goes." And so he just charged up, and he says this out loud. "Okay, 5% of my power." And Todoroki is getting pissed that he's only using 5%. Fine then, and he used 100% of his half cold power and start shattering the whole thing. And he kept doing this, and Deku is pretty much punching it away. No, he's slapping it away, kind of like a bitch slap, each and every time, right, left, every time. And Todoroki is just getting frustrated and getting cold, and he started to frostbite, and he doesn't want to use his quirk, but he kind of has to because he wants to win. And Deku pretty much told him, "You know, Endeavor's quirk. If you have it, then how can he use his?" And Todoroki is like saying there, kind of questioning it, and saying it again, and Deku said, "Exactly. He has his quirk. He's using it right now, as you can see." And Todoroki looks and says, "Yeah." And Deku said, "And you have a half and half quirk. You have a bit of his power, not all of it. It's from him, but that quirk is yours. Are we going to say that ice quirk is from your mother? So you're using two people's quirk?" And Todoroki is just standing there and thinking that he's right. It's not Endeavor's, it's mine. And Deku said, "And now, come on, fight me at your fullest, and I'll fight you with my fullest." And Todoroki said, "Fine then, I'll beat you with my quirks." And so he's charging up, and the atmosphere and that area is really cold. It's like your breath, you can see your breath on the out. And so Todoroki pretty much use his fire side and start flaming up the whole thing. And some Mentos and Midnight is start using their quirks to stop this fight. And Zuko is actually charging up to 100%. And with his other quirk, making it powerful enough where it's turning to colors. And he's just a little more pissed. So it's more red than white. And everybody's seeing this red and white colors right now. And they both I'm just a fist bump to myself. Both hit each other at the same time. Todoroki using zero exactly. The temperature is actually exactly at zero. Zero. Finally. And Deku used 100% of One for All. And it made that huge, 2 times bigger in the explosion, where the walls on the in the inside rim is all cracked, and Deku and it was misting up everywhere, and so they had to wait for a few minutes and see that both of them are out of the ring, and they said, "Whoever gets up first and get to the ring, in the ring, is the winner. And Todoroki is like struggling to get up, and he's like moving his arms inch by inch, and Deku is just looking, and the crowd are assuming that Todoroki is gonna win, that he's moving first, and Deku pretty much sat there and waited about a minute because he broke a lot of bones for that one, and everybody's hearing cracking everywhere. And Zuko's just like now pretty much getting up slowly, but getting up kind of parched, and start walking to the ring like it's nothing, and pretty much stepped in, and President Mike said, and Zuko Midoriya have won this battle. And I'll say this like it was. No, I can't do that. You guys want to see the other one. And so Zuko pretty much stood there, waited for everybody to pretty much finish coupling, and and then Deku pretty much took Todoroki into the recovery girl's office, and asked the recovery girl, "Can I have some water too?" I took a lot out of me, and she said, "I know. You want a gallon or a bottle?" And Deku said, "I think I need just 2 bottles," and she just gave it to him. It was nice and cold to him, and so. What time is it? Dang, everybody's going to be mad at me. But I need to finish this. Okay. And so Deku pretty much healed a Bakugo. No, let's not do that. Bakugo got up and started walking to there. And Deku also too. After 5 minutes of break time. And so everybody back at their seats. Everybody then. Jiro have a cover in her on her mouth, for showing that she's not allowed to speak. Todoroki can't really move his arms just at that point. And so, and President Mike saying, are we really gonna make these two fight? They just took an extreme amount of damage. And as I was saying, wait for it. And Zuko pretty much walked up to Bakugo and pull out his hand. And President Mike said, and look at how grateful he is, giving a handshake at the very end of this battle, and for today's fight. And this is gonna be the last fight of the day, folks, and it'll be end of the festival. And Bakugo said, pretty much shook his hand, up, down, and Deku said, transfer, and everybody heard, and the President Mike pretty much said transfer, and Aizawa said yes, transfer. He's going to heal him for this fight, and Bakugo pretty much was holding his hand and pretty much wiggled his head around and said, oh, "Man, it felt so much better to hear." And Deku said, "Dude, what the heck? You were how did you hear anything?" And Bakugo said, "I can't hear anything. I just assumed that everything was how it was going." And Deku said, "Dude, you're crazy. You know that, right?" And Bakugo said, "Hey, it takes one to know one, huh?" And so they just went back to their corners, and Midnight said, "Ready, set, go," and they started fighting. It's going all the same, kind of like how they fight in their third season when they were fighting, and it was going like that at 8%, and Deku pretty much brought it up to 10%, and so it's showing that Bakugo is losing, but he's not giving up, and he's doing a hard left rights blast into his face, and he's just doing this because he knows he's gonna lose, so he's just gonna show off as much as he can, and so he stepped back, and Deku is like standing there and kind of like egging him on, saying, come on, I still didn't feel anything." And the crowd's hearing him and saying, is he a bit cocky? And Bakugo said, all right then, how about this? And he put his hand back, he's going to do his ultimate move, AP shot. And And Baku said, "All right, here we go. AP shot and start and blast." And Deku pretty much stood there and was a little shocked and took it. He just took it in, and Bakugo pretty much blast a hole right through Deku's stomach, and everybody's screaming that he just killed a student. He just killed a student, and some of the heroes are gonna jump in and call off the match. And Midnight pretty much said that is a qualification of disqualified. Deku have won the match, and President said, and pretty much is kind of shocked to say this, and Aizawa said, "Hey, hold on, wait a minute," and everybody's looking at Aizawa saying, "What? He just killed a kid from 1A, the top strongest," and Aizawa said, "Look again," and Bakugo is just standing there waiting for him to get up because he knows he can, and Deku said, "Dude, what was that? That was strong. I'm hungry now. Are you going to feed me after this?" And everybody's kind of shocked that he's getting up like it was nothing. And Bakugo said, "Okay then, I give up. That was my strongest, and you still came back up in 1 minute." And Deku said, "Duh. What do you think? That's not as bad as getting brain damage." And everybody's saying, "Brain damage?" And Aizawa said, "In our last attack from the USJ, we were fighting a creature that had brain damage, and Zuko pretty much said that is the worst kind of damage he had ever fixed." And so everything went down. All the heroes went back to their seats. During that, Bakugo knew that he was pretty much gonna lose at this, so he's showing off his best move. And so yeah, Deku is number 1, Bakugo is number 2, Todoroki is number 3. And after all of that ceremony stuff, he went to everybody, shake their hand, and said, "Great job, transfer." And Deku pretty much got the pain from Todoroki. And Deku said, "I can fix that, right?" And Todoroki said, "Fix what?" And Deku said, "Your scar. I can fix that. I can easily take it off. It's been bothering me this whole the whole time I saw you." And Todoroki is kind of shocked to hear this, and Deku said, "But there's a catch. What I'm gonna do, I'll heal that, but you, and only you, will have to go back and talk to your mother." And Todoroki said, "Okay, if you can heal this, I'll go back and talk to my mother." And Deku said, "Cool." And he just pretty much held his face and looked to his eyes and said, "Transfer." And Jiro's looking at this and saying, "Hey, you should be doing that to me, not to him." And she's getting a little jealous. And some of the girls are hearing this saying, "Ooh, Jiro, are you a little jealous?" And Jiro's kind of blushing and saying, "Hey, no, I, shut up." And Deku said, "Okay." And hey, and Zuko said, "Well, now you can look in the mirror, and you should go and talk to your mother." And so he walked off and asked everybody else if anybody's heard anything, and they said no. And so the girl's kind of healed. Recovery girl did fix her voice box. It's just mostly it was scratched. And Deku said, "Give me your hand." And then Jiro said, "Okay." And he grabbed it and said, "Transfer." There. "Now, are you all better?" And she said, "Hey, don't use that tone with me." And she's kind of like giving him mixed signals at the same time. And Deku pretty much said, "Okay." And he just spin around, 360, and gave her a peck on the cheek. And she kind of blushed. A second she was surprised, and then the next second she was blushing. And we will stop it at this point. Okay, guys, it was fun, but I need to get home. Bye.